You're welcome into the locker room on the Smooth Breakfast right here on Smooth 98.1. Your love music, love life, and of course, love sports station on a hump of the week, Wednesday. A great time to talk sports, 16 minutes past 8 a.m. Ayokunmi right here with you, ready to take you on this walk. Hope you're ready because I definitely am. And of course, joining me on this journey is the one, the only Tega. Good morning to you. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm doing great. Wednesday. Yesterday,
The, week-
Sha.
the weekend is on my mind already. I'll just put it out there.
We had weekend yesterday now.
I know. It's never enough.
It's never enough. Happy Independence Day, everybody. All right. So, what are we discussing today? The Champions League. My
Mm.
goodness, did you see those score lines? I told you this new Champions League format is not formatting. So we'll talk about the Champions League. We'll touch on what is happening in China. Naomi Osaka took on Kokogov yesterday or last night if you're in China. So we'll touch on that a little bit. The final, Carlos Alcaraz against Yannick Sinner in China, we'll touch on it too. And then we'll talk about, oh, first of all, let me even mention, you see that red card that they gave Bruno Fernandes? They rescinded
Rescinded.
it. I was like, okay, who is going to rescind the point? Don't get me wrong. I still think Manchester United would have lost. Sorry, may have lost with one man down. May have. I still think so. And that is not because Manchester United did exceptionally well enough when there were 11 men on the pitch, but because
Mm.
Tottenham are that kind of team. They will create 100 chances, they will still lose a game. So I think that the red card did impact the results. To what degree, I cannot guarantee, but it is so irresponsible that every weekend we come back to these refereeing decisions and we say, oh, we have to take it back. They rescinded the red card. I saw it from Africa that it was not a red card.
I
How is the
mean,
man on the pitch? That's what I was saying. I was like, VAR shouldn't be there to butter up the referee. You are not his cheerleader. You're there to help him make correct decisions. But sometimes when they look at the VAR, they think that the VAR is their enemy. He's there to question my decision. Which kind of fragile ego do they have in that APL? Anyway, so the red card has been rescinded. If I'm Bruno Fernandes, I'd be angry. If I'm Manchester United, I'd write a long letter. But I'm neither. So we focus on on other stories today and all else that is happening in the world of sports. But before we begin to do any talking, Ayo, tell us, how can we be a part of the locker room this morning?
alrighty, to be part of the locker room, all you need to do is come through on WhatsApp, share your thoughts with us on 0809 440 981. 0809 440 981 is the WhatsApp number. The studio line is 0201 4489 981. We're also out there on YouTube. Yes, we're streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Come through. And of course, we always love to hear your thoughts. Okay, quick run through of the stories we're talking about this morning. Sad one in the world of basketball. NBA legend Mutombo dies from brain cancer at the age of 58. Coco Golf through after Osaka withdraws at China Open. Havertz and Saka star as Arsenal sing PSG. Arsenal doing something very right. Dortmund and Adeyemi hand Celtic brutal European reality check. That was beyond brutal. I mean, come on. That was harsh. Atletico
That was
Simeone
harsh.
reaffirms view that players who provoke fans should be punished. And Eto considering challenge to 6-month FIFA match ban. He's always in the news for one thing or the other. It's never seems to be good stuff. Mota predicts an open game between solid Juventus and Leipzig. And Vincent Company confident Kane will be fit to face Aston Villa. All right, Tiger, let's begin at the beginning and talk about that story concerning the NBA Hall of Famer Dikembe Mutombo, who died from brain cancer at the age of 58.
Yeah, sad news. I think it was 2 days ago that the world was hit with the news. But okay, so let's run it back. So Dikembe Mutombo, you know how he is pushing for Africa. He was one of the players pushing for NBA Africa. You see how big it is now.
Mm.
And also coming from Congo, he always every time a player came into the NBA and he had the opportunity to meet Dikembe Mutombo from Africa, Dikembe Mutombo will be the first person to tell you that when you finish shining your light here, make sure you shine some light back at home. So all them Sergi Baka that you seen doing great things back in Congo is Dikembe Mutombo that was, reminding them, look,
Mm.
you came from here, always give back. He was that passionate about Africa. It's not just in basketball, even Vincent Company or Vincent Company, like people call him, that plays for Belgium. If when he had the opportunity to meet the Kembe Mutombo said, we know that you are Belgian by birth, but remember where your fathers came from. He was that kind of person who was always promoting Africa, always pushing for investment into Africa. He's that person, very friendly, very jovial, very nice. I used to call him Gentle Giant because Dikembe Mutombo was over 7 feet, big guy
Oh,
like this.
oh yes. Oh yes.
Yeah,
About seven
big
feet two
guy
or
couldn't.
thereabout.
Yes, couldn't even fit into the chairs. But he was just always there, always friendly, always jovial. So I think it was a couple of years ago. He fell. He slumped and fell, and they rushed him to the hospital, and they found that it was not his heart, but that there was a tumor in his brain. So they took out the tumor at the time and said, you know how it is. They first take out the tumor, and they checked. They said, oh, the tumor was cancerous, but at the time they said it hadn't spread. Or I think that was the story that we heard from outside. Um, Only for us to hear a few days ago that he died from brain cancer. So it's a really sad loss, shocking loss. I mean, only 58. Why do they good die young? And so this is it. Everybody is in mourning because he had such a huge impact on people personally and on the continent of Africa. We just pray that the family has the grace and the heart to bear the loss, and we pray that he rests in peace.
Most definitely. Well, I mean, you can't talk about NBA legend status without mentioning Dikembe Mutombo. I mean, 8-time NBA All-Star, 4-time NBA Defensive Player of the Year, 3-time NBA All-Defensive second team. And of course, he had number 55 jersey retired by two different teams. Yes, Atlanta Hawks and the Denver Nuggets. Both
Oh yes,
teams
his
retired number 55 shirts because of him.
his impact on court was great. His impact as a human being was even better. I mean, you can imagine that his impact on court was great, but as a human being is the impact. I mean, a lot of people are talking about. So I mean,
Definitely.
even the media that posted it based on the fact that he's an NBA legend focused on his humanitarian activities. So
Yep.
that's the kind of person we've lost. That is the
Exactly.
kind of
Sad
person.
stuff, sad stuff. All right, let's talk about some tennis. Now, fourth seed Coco Gauff is through to the quarterfinals of the China Open after Japan's Naomi Osaka was forced to retire injured in their last 16 match. Sad stuff for Osaka in that one.
Yes, so it was a tough one. She rolled back the years. It was prime Osaka. I was almost beginning to applaud Moratoglu. So apparently for her, she said she had locked her back during training, and she had locked her back during training, and she thought she was not going to be able to play. But after they massaged it a little bit, she was like, okay, I can manage it. It's just a lock. I can manage it. I can take painkillers, manage the pain. And if I come out of this match, then I'll have some rest period before I play the next match. That's how she got into the match. And this girl was flying. I kid you not. She was beating Coco Golf. Not I want to say it was metaphorically, but the impact was physical because because Coco Gauff was running helter skelter. She almost looked like she was going to die. You have to remember, Coco Gauff is the younger one. And Coco Gauff she looked at some point exasperated, especially after she lost the first set, and then they came into the second set. Coco Gauff was broke Naomi Osaka early, and just when Coco Gauff thought she was going to be able to settle down, Naomi Osaka broke her back and made her sweat, made her question herself, made her throw her hands up. She was talking to her mommy from the court. That's how Naomi Osaka dealt with Coco Gauff. Unfortunately, then Naomi Osaka, now after breaking Coco Gauff back, she now broke to lead. But from then on out, she couldn't play the match. And I was wondering, somehow her service games just dipped. She was not really putting as much intensity as in her shot. The next thing, she lost the second set and then she retired. That's when I understood why. When you're leading 6-3, 4-3 in a match, you don't just suddenly drop off, especially when the person on the other side of the net hasn't suddenly elevated their game. It was because of the back. She was struggling with the back, and so she had to retire. So tough one. But Naomi Osaka will come back. I've said it before. I've been watching her play recently, and from her performances, she's definitely coming back. The problem is, will her body let her? That lower back thing is a struggle. I remember when Paolo Baldosa had it a couple of years ago. She's still struggling with it, but she's just only getting back into rhythm. So let's see how it works out for her. On the men's side, it was Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner giving us match yesterday. Sweet, beautiful tennis.
Let's
Carlos
go.
Alcaraz beat Daniel Medvedev yesterday. Yannick Sinner struggled a little, was challenged a little bit, but still managed to come through home favorite Boo. And so today's final is Sinner against Alcaraz. In fact, it should have started because we're on different time zones. Yannick Sinner taking on Alcaraz. That's another mouth-watering clash. But let's see how it goes. But Carlos Alcaraz's exploits in China has moved him up in the standings from world number 3 back to world number 2. So let's see how he can do.
Interesting stuff there, Carlos Alcaraz versus Yannick Sinner. The man on a cloud, not cloud 9, but a cloud, all the same. But anyways, we keep it moving. Let's talk about the Champions League, Teg. I mean, that was on the cards yesterday night. Amazing games, a lot of goals as well, especially out there in Germany. Well, let's start with Arsenal. And Kai Havertz and Bukayo Saka inspired Arsenal's 2-0 success against Paris Saint-Germain on Tuesday as the Gunners secured their first win in the Champions League this season. Finally, the Gunners are up and running in the UCL.
Yes, up and running and against PSG. It was one of the firecracker matches for yesterday, and it rightly was, because you looked at both teams. They are eager to please, eager to defend themselves, eager to show that they are ready to take on the world. PSG, after Mbappe left, they're eager to prove a point that yes, Mbappe may have left, but every team is more than just one player. Arsenal, especially after the abysmal performance in the first leg, they wanted to impose their authority. So, and they're playing at home, made it even more. Were they playing at home? Yeah, made it even
Arsenal
more.
were home.
Yeah, made it even more interesting. So here is what it was. As much as the result was 2-0, that's not how the match went. At some point, it looked like a basketball game. Arsenal will lose the ball in front of the 18-yard box in PSG, and before you look up, the ball is in front of the 18-yard box at the Arsenal goalpost. I'm like, where is the midfield? So
They're
it
injured.
was actually it was actually tough for Arsenal, tougher than the result said, and especially after Arteta took off Thomas Partey. I don't know if he was taking off Thomas Partey to protect him. I don't know if he was taking off Thomas Partey to preserve him, or if he just wanted to test out whether Merino was fit enough. But what it was that when he took out Thomas Partey, the express in that midfield was evident. It was like Third Mainland Bridge on a Sunday afternoon. Free. Free. And so those are the things that they have to look. I don't want to put too much pressure on Merino, because he still did some good defensive breakup work, and he started one counter attack like that. It was not such a bad day. And especially because it was his first match in such a big position, I can forgive that. But Arsenal may have to look at themselves about this Thomas Partey injury, about this Thomas Partey issue, because if Thomas Partey picks up an injury, could be tough for Arsenal. Could be tougher than what they're suffering now that Odegaard is missing. Do you understand what I mean? So, but yes, it was a good game to watch. It was good results for Arsenal. Sad one for PSG, because they had a few chances here and there that they couldn't finish. Like the one that hit the header, that was it a header that came off the bar and David Raya completely missed. That one was clearly going in. And then the one that David Raya parried back into the attack area, but Kolomani couldn't settle himself to turn and score that goal. So they had opportunities to score. They were either thwarted by David Raya or by some hand of luck. But they will try again next time. But that was a good match. If anybody was watching the Champions League, that was a good match to watch.
Indeed. PSG will just need to pick themselves up and keep it going. 6 games still to go in the group phase of the Champions League this season. Let's take a quick break. When we come back in, we'll talk about Dortmund and what they did, the horrific things that Celtic saw at their hands in Germany. Don't go anywhere.
I I saw terrible things. That was bad.
You saw
When it
terrible
was 1-1, I was like, okay, this may be a football match. I should have known better.
Funny thing about
That fufu,
Dortmund, they will enter Bundesliga this weekend and go and lose stupidly.
I'm telling you, that foolish fufu eating boy that doesn't
Ah,
know how to comb his hair.
ah, it's the food that gives him strength.
It was a good game. It was also a good game to watch. Them and Barcelona. Barcelona would have considered yesterday. Let me not lie. That their defense is the poorest. Oh no, that Barcelona's defense, they should just bag it up at Christmas and give it to somebody else.
I think
Don't sell
maybe
it.
maybe Hansi Flick knows that and says, okay, the defense is bad. It's bad. All right, just score five. Because in four, but score five and win. Something
Yeah,
like
so
that.
the thing about it is Hansi Flick cannot even fix the defense because they cannot do any real trade. They
Well, I
don't.
mean,
Do you understand?
they
Because
have
I mean, think about what they had to. They had to say that somebody was out for a long time for them to register Merino. I'm sorry, Omo.
oh,
Sorry. Mm. So do you understand? It's a tough one for Barcelona for Hansi Flick because he would
okay.
really have liked to fix that defense. He's a German,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
That's why they're using all their secondary school boys to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Now
So
condition of course make crayfish bend.
oh, now he's beginning to look like a genius out of necessity. All right, when we come back, are there messages that we can take?
There's one on WhatsApp and one on YouTube as well.
Okay, so let's take those two messages. Give out the phone lines again because we'll soon open the phone lines.
Okay. You're welcome back into the locker room on Smooth 98.1, your love music, love life station on a hump of the week Wednesday morning. Talking sports is Ayokunmi as well as Tega. It's a beautiful morning. Come through and of course be a part of the conversation. If you aren't already with us, what exactly are you doing? The WhatsApp number is 0809 440 981 0809 444 0981. The studio line is 0201 4489981. And you can also join us on YouTube. We're streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Welcome back in, Tech. Let's take some thoughts on YouTube and, of course, on WhatsApp as well. Padre Pio/Pio says, so they agree that Bruno shouldn't have been red carded. Now, what of FPL points, Doc, from FPL managers who have him in their teams? First of all, any FPL manager that has Bruno in his team, you should be flogged, first of all. And secondly, if you do,
If that's what you can afford now.
go for you. Bruno is not cheap now. Come, come on. No, let's not do that. But I get you, Padre. On WhatsApp, AY from Maniro says, DKB Mutombo's death is such sad news. I remember watching him back then during his playing days at Philadelphia 76ers in 2002. And Barcelona, on the other hand, responded with a resounding victory last night against Young Boys after the loss against Osasuna over the weekend. Hansi Flick is cooking. Agbakuka. Bobby from Kano
Young boys against young boys.
or Young Boys against Younger Boys. I don't know which of the two. He says it's World Victor Boniface Day. I have personally adopted a new strut for whenever I have to show off, inspired by what I named the Bonnie bounce that he did with a straight face after scoring his first Champions League goal yesterday. So comical. I saw that and I was laughing that Victor Boniface is such a clown. Great
I'm
player.
telling you, he
Have
has
fun.
he has a career in comedy when he's done.
Indeed, he does. Indeed, he does. Okay, Tega, let's come back in. Let's wait for those calls to come in though. 0201 4489981. Studio line is open for you to come through.
Ayokunmi, don't give the numbers yet. We haven't given the topic, but just let them know that there'll be phone calls.
Okay, there'll be phone calls, yes. So just in case you don't have the number, write it down. Write it down. So let's talk about Dortmund and the game against Celtic. Brutal match yesterday, Karim Adeyemi scored 3 goals in the first half as Borussia Dortmund handed Celtic a brutal Champions League reality check, as they called it, winning 7-1 at home on Tuesday.
Yeah, that was a brutal one. The thing about Dortmund is that they are very inconsistent. And that is the problem. You can also attribute that to the fact that they have a largely green coach. But also you have to remember Dortmund played in the final of the Champions League last year. But they weren't so hot in the Bundesliga. In the Bundesliga last season, we were still talking about not last year, last season, sorry. In the Bundesliga
Mhm.
last season, we're talking about Leverkusen and Bayern Munich. We're not really talking about Dortmund. They didn't have any impact there. But when it came to the Champions League, they did very well or to get all the way to the finals. And that's the thing that Dortmund, that's the kind of team that Dortmund are. They're a team that can play fantastic football, but not everywhere at the same time.
Right.
so so you have to decide, are they going to be good in the Champions League or good in the Bundesliga? And you're going to have to decide, is it every day that they'll be good or not every day? Because they've posted some shocking results in the Bundesliga this season. So again, you look at the Bundesliga side, Dortmund, they played brilliantly yesterday, scored 7 goals. Yes, they considered 1 goal, scored 7 goals, but they could have scored more. They ran riots, literal riots. I mean, think about it. Adeyemi with a first half hat trick. At that point in time, Celtic should have just put their boots under their armpit and gone home. You know,
On their heads.
on their heads, whichever one is more appropriate for them. But it makes it tough. But again, this same Dortmund side, if you pick them again on the weekend, it could be a shocking result from them. So
Exactly.
very inconsistent side, but a lot of goals. Also Barcelona, someone has already mentioned it, so has already touched on it. So let me touch on it. Barcelona scoring 5 after the disaster class that they had in the first leg. Remember that they were leading, then there was the red card, and it went
Mm.
downhill from there. So yesterday they redeemed themselves, scoring 5 goals. Could have conceded 1 or 2, but ultimately they won the match. And then you look at all these score lines: 5 goals here, 7 goals there. Complete obliteration of teams. And you're wondering, this new league system, I don't know that it is a systeming. Do you understand? The format is not formatting because what they promised us were mouth-watering clashes, and yes, there are a few here and there. Um, but look at the way even Manchester City yesterday, not playing their best football, strolling to the result. That's not what you want to see in the Champions League. You can take that in the league because when teams come against some teams are not in great form, but in the Champions League, it's supposed to be champions battling it out.
But we still tend to
Unfortunately.
see some of these games in the Champions League, even in the former formats now, Tega. I mean, the top team having at least one weaker team in the group.
One weaker team. You used to see 7-1, 4-1, 5-1 all over the place.
Sometimes.
It was not all over the place. It was once in a while results. Even when we are talking about Bayern Munich defeating Barcelona, those were results for banter. Do you understand? It was not the results you expected to see happen. This one, you're just coming. Every day they are donating goals. I don't know what is happening here. I hope UEFA is not paying anybody for every goal scored, because they will pay through their nose. They'll be bankrupt by the end of it. So for me, this format is not formatting. But for you, what do you think about the new UEFA Champions League format? The numbers to call are
0201 4489981 0201 4489981. That is the studio line. Come through and talk to us about this new Champions League format. Do you love it because there are goals and goals, or do you feel that the quality of games are, not up to par because too many stronger teams against quote unquote the weaker teams? Let us know your thoughts. Also, WhatsApp messages are there for you. 0809 440 981 0809 440 981 is the WhatsApp number. So we'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. Okay. Tega, while we wait for that first call to actually come in, let's talk about Diego Simeone. He's in the news, and he has stuck by his view that players who provoke fans should be punished after some home supporters threw objects at visiting Real Madrid goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois in Sunday's derby, which was suspended briefly.
Yeah, no, don't say it was suspended briefly. It was about 20 minutes. That was not brief. That was not a brief suspension. That was a long one. Some people were even saying, you know what, cancel the match and then give the points to Real Madrid, 3 points and 3 goals to Real Madrid because it was bad. But I understand what he means about players provoking fans. However, I don't know that this is a derby. Part of the things that come with derbies are celebrations and provoking celebrations because Atletico Madrid is playing Real Madrid. Once Real Madrid scores, they will start to celebrate because why? The fans were singing against them since morning. So now they score, they are going to pump their fist, they are going to wriggle their waist, they are going to shout. So they shouldn't celebrate again. Is that what the Yosemite is saying? What do you
I
mean
mean,
they are provoking the team?
as long as Vinicius is on the pitch, that's what happened.
It wasn't even Vinicius, it was Thibaut Courtois that they were angry about this time. People should not celebrate again. So I think ultimately, this I understand what it means by players provoking fans, um, but most in general, it's just the part of football because you will provoke fans just by scoring the goal. So should we punish players for that? Where do we draw the line? I think at the end of the day, fans just need to keep being fans and not become terrorists. Um, and players need to be able to enjoy their wins. So
Exactly.
yes, Sundays,
Fans also have a responsibility.
yes, fans need to
Big
keep
one.
being fans. They can't be terrorists. We can't become and they know that they're doing a bad thing because did you see those Atletico fans, the prime ones? I've forgotten what they call them, the core ones. They wear masks and they wear
The
those masks because
the
they're
ultras,
ready to the ultras because they're ready to commit atrocities and they don't want to be caught. That's why they're wearing masks. Otherwise, reveal your face. Let's see you. If
exactly.
being an ultra is the great thing, show us your face. If you show you, they don't. They don't show. They wear the masks because they're about to wreak havoc. And then
Indeed.
footballers have to now condone this behavior from both sides. Footballers have to now placate these people, these mask wearing people that are threatening everybody. And so at the end of the day, as much as Diego Simeone wants to speak to this, he has to talk about fans that need to behave themselves because fans have a responsibility. All right.
Indeed
But
they do.
he needs to move on from that because today he's facing Benfica in the Champions League. So let's see how that pans out
Indeed.
for
Tega,
Atletico Madrid.
let's squeeze one call in and just really briefly, let's hear what you have to say really quickly here. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Who's talking to us?
Yeah, my name is Bolaji. I'm a first-time caller, actually.
Welcome, Bolaji. First
Bolaji,
of
good
many
morning
calls.
and welcome. Yeah.
Good morning.
All right, Bolaji,
Yeah,
really quickly, talk to us.
concerning what like the new development, I think it's a good one for me. To tell you because what I noticed is, this time around, it's not going to give the, so-called some things, not going to just give them the same access to just move on. So now, most people, you must meet at least a strong team. It is not one or two, I think the meeting. So I believe, fans are not that. That really true. The first one is that really. And sometimes they are trying to go, on the same. I think for me, this guy, I think the impression I think that I think that was
We can hardly hear you, Bolaji. It's difficult to hear you all of a sudden.
oh, can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, Bolaji, real quick, 10
Yeah,
seconds. Round up your
okay.
thoughts.
So I said concerning the Atletico game, I think it's control that trigger what happened with the fans because of the celebration. Actually, I think it was not that triggered as well. But thank God it was able to just
Sort itself out.
it.
Yeah, I get you. All right, thank you so much, Bolaji, for sharing your thoughts. First call of many. Tega, we need to take some messages as we get on out of the studio on this one. Let me jump in here. Tayo says, Gunners up and grateful. Man United up, red card rescinded, but still in crisis. Tayo, continue. Never underestimate the
You
power of
continue.
Fufu. Case in point, Oluwa Karim. Fufu is scarce in Germany. That's why Dortmund is erratic. Barcelona using young boys to finish young boys. And the new format doesn't concern me. Play. Let's know what's up. Simeone, that was provoking fans with his own celebration. He should calm down. And RIP to Dikembe Mutombo. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Victor Sheon says, will Celtic ever make a real impact in Champions League? A Scottish
No.
champion wasting UCL slots for good Premier League teams. They play. Champions in 1967. Some EPL teams haven't tasted it, so I'm not mentioning any names.
Exactly.
Dakbo from Idiaraba says, yesterday's UEFA football matches were really a sight for sore eyes. Barcelona showed the Swiss young boys that they are indeed toddlers. Karim Adeyemi and Dortmund put Celtic in their place, showing them that their shakara can only be limited to Scotland. Thank you for that. Fred Adoki says, I love the new UCL format. Forget about the scoreline between Dortmund and Celtic. Both are European champions. RB Leipzig is a stubborn team, but being an old lady comes with a lot of experience. And on YouTube, let me see it here. Big Mayor says there has to be some sort of repercussions to bad officiating. That's in reaction to the Bruno
To the
Fernandes
red card
being
being rescinded.
rescinded.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Every weekend you'll be dashing us bad officiating. All right, on that note, I want to thank you all for sending your messages. Unfortunately, we couldn't touch on Samuel Eto'o. He was suspended because of remember when the Cameroonian girls at the under 20 World Cup lost, he went to speak to the officials. According to him, he went to speak to them respectfully. According to the officials, he harassed them. We cannot say who did what, but bottom line, that was one of the cases that was called, and so he was suspended. So we wait to see what his legal action will be. But we want to thank you for sending in your messages to Smooth 98.1 FM via WhatsApp and YouTube. We also want to thank you for tuning in and making in your phone calls. So we'll come your way again on Friday to bring up all the big matches and mouth-watering incidents that happen in the world of sports. Have a fantastic week.
All right. Thank you, Tega. Have a great Wednesday morning as you get along. And thank you for all the contributions on the show. Keep it tuned. The Smooth Breakfast will continue as we get ready to get talking on Lagos Talks at 9 o'clock.